All right, in this series, what we are going to focus on is writing part 2. The writing part 2 is your essay writing. And in this lesson, we're going to be discussing how to develop arguments. All right, so let's start the lesson. This lesson, we're going to focus on developing arguments. So the activities that we're going to look at include understanding the question. So that's very important. Whenever you read the question, you have to understand it fully. So we'll do a true and false exercise to be able to understand if you understand the question. Okay. And then we'll focus on generating ideas. How do we generate ideas for our essay? And then we will focus on organizing a balanced argument, and then we will focus on writing the essay. All right, let's start with writing task 2 and get an understanding of what writing task 2 is and what it involves. In writing task 2, test takers will be asked to write an essay in response to a point of view, argument, or problem. They will be expected to write at least 250 words and are advised to spend 40 minutes on this task. The essay should be written in formal academic English. All right. All right, let's just see if you understand the question. Now, it was very important. If you don't understand the question properly, you are going to write about something that is entirely different and you're going to lose a lot of crucial marks, all right? So let's see if you understand the question properly. We will do a true and false activity where I want to check your understanding of how good you understand the question. Okay, so let's read out this question. Example question: the rising cost and decreasing supply of fossil fuels such as oil and gas, along with environmental concerns, means that their continued use as our main source of energy is impractical, and alternative sources must be found. The only realistic alternative is nuclear energy. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words, all right? So let's do this true and false activity. Look at the question above and decide if the following statements are true or false. So pause the video here, do this exercise on your own, read all of these sentences and tell me if these statements are true or false relating to this example question. Pause the video here and do this exercise on your own. And when you come back, we're going to review the answers. All right, look at the answers here. So the first question says, the question asks whether or not fossil fuels are impractical. The answer is false. This is presented as a fact. It's not the area of debate, all right? You're not debating on that idea. It's just been given to you, right? You should give a detailed description of how fossil fuel cause global warming. That's also false. The question is about the impact of nuclear energy as an alternative. You're not supposed to give a detailed description of how fossil fuels cause global warming. Number 3, the question asks whether nuclear energy is a good alternative to fossil fuel. That's exactly what it's asking you to do. So this is the focus of debate. That is true. Number 4, you should discuss the argument for and against nuclear energy. That is true. It asks you to what extent you agree or disagree. Although you could write this response entirely one-sided, you completely agree, 100% agree. It is important to provide some balance by including at least one argument from the other side, even if it is to refute it. So you can say that, okay, some people think like that, but I disagree because of that, right? So it's good for you to also talk about the other side, not just talk about one side. You can agree with it, but you can also provide another opinion of other people, right? And what are the disadvantages of that? Okay. Let's talk about 5. You should discuss the argument for and against fossil fuel. That's not the focus, right? So number 5 is wrong, false. This is not the area of debate. The area of debate is nuclear energy as an alternative, right? All right, number 6, you should mention other alternative energy resources. That is also true. It is appropriate to mention other alternatives, so as the question suggests that only nuclear is realistic. However, the discussion of nuclear energy should be the main focus of the response. So you can also talk about other alternatives, but the main focus of your response should be nuclear energy. Number 7, you should give detailed historical accounts of nuclear disasters. That's false. That's not what you need to do. You don't need expert knowledge on any topic. There is no expert knowledge that is required, but examples from test takers' awareness of the topic is fine. You can give some example if you have some personal knowledge. You can use that knowledge, but citing studies or research is not what is expected of the task. So do not cite according to this research, according to that research. That is not what the question asks you ever. So do not cite any studies or research on this expertise matter. All right. Number 8, you should only mention your opinions. That's false. So let's look at the answer number 4. You can also talk about what other people think. So not always your opinion. You can also talk about other people's opinion here as well. You should express your opinion, but show awareness of others. That's true. And eventually you have to give your opinion, what you think of it, but you can also talk about other people's opinions as well. You should include relevant facts that help to support your opinion. That is true. Give the facts to support your opinion. And if you look at 7, you don't need expert knowledge on this topic, but you can just provide examples and explanation as to why you agree with this statement, right? Let's do another activity. In this activity, we'll learn how to generate ideas. So look at this 2 boxes here. You've got agree and you've got disagree, right? So look at these 4 statements that have been given to you. There are other alternatives to fossil fuels such as wind and solar power, right? Which pose fewer risks. Modern nuclear power stations are designed with many safety features. Nuclear power is a much more economic way to produce energy. Nuclear power offers an almost limitless supply of energy. All of these sentences or statements, where do you think it fits? Do you think it fits in the agree? Reasons I agree that the only realistic alternative is nuclear energy. Would you put it in the agree box, or are you going to put it in the disagree box, right? The reasons I disagree with the statement that the only realistic alternative is nuclear energy. Where are you going to fit it? Pause the video here, do this activity on your own, and when you come back, we're going to review this and see if these statements are related to agreeing or disagreeing. All right, let's look at this one, right? So the answers, reasons why I agree that the only realistic alternative is nuclear energy. Option B is agreeing, right? So modern nuclear power stations are designed with many safety features. This is in favor of nuclear energy, right, as an alternative. So that's why it's agreeing. Number C, nuclear power is a much more economical way to produce energy. That's also in favor. So that's also in the agree box. Number D, nuclear power offers an almost limitless supply of energy. That's also in favor of nuclear energy, and that's why you are basically going to put that in the agree box. Now, in the disagree box, number A is the option. There are other alternatives to fossil fuels, such as wind and solar power, which pose fewer risks. So that's disagreeing, because you can say that, nuclear power has some risks, which wind and solar does not have. Further, if you think about further possible arguments, if you thought about further arguments, this is answering question number 2. Add your own arguments to each column. If you had more arguments, that's fine, but I'll give you some here, which you can also think of, and if you're agreeing with it. For example, let's look at the agree box first. All waste is contained instead of going directly into the atmosphere. Nations have no oil and nations that have no oil and gas reserves can produce their own energy independently. Nuclear power stations are safer places for people to work than coal-fired power stations. Nuclear power stations do not produce greenhouse gases. So these are all in the favor of, if you're agreeing, you're providing the reasons why you agree. If you're disagreeing, what are the ideas that you can come up with? Let's read them out. The mining of uranium causes environmental damage. For nuclear power, you need uranium. The mining of uranium causes environmental damage as well, so that's not good for the environment. So just disagreeing and providing explanation there. The second explanation is there is always a danger that human error or negligence can cause an accident, nuclear accident. You're aware of that. It can be caused because of human nature. There are a lot of examples of this in the history. Chernobyl in Ukraine was one of the examples where there was a human error and that caused a very big accident, a nuclear catastrophe. So you can provide that kind of example there as well. If you don't have the expertise knowledge, you don't have to worry about it. You just have to provide your opinion. Third one, safely disposing of radioactive waste is expensive. So you can talk about economical factors as well. And then radioactive waste poses a danger for centuries. Again, it's very, very dangerous and can cause accidents. All right, so these are, if you're disagreeing, you have to provide that explanation. If you're agreeing, you have to provide this kind of statements to back up your claim of agreement. All right, let's look at this example, organizing a balanced argument. How do we organize a balanced argument? When we are writing a paragraph, we should aim for balancing an argument. Now, try to do this activity on your own. Let's do this activity. Number one asks you, connect the ideas in the example paragraph below with the words from the box. So you have, as a result of, finally, these are linking words, by the way, you already know this. These are discourse markers, linking words. And you will use them in your speaking as well as your writing. Writing is very, very important to achieve great results for coherence and cohesion. So try to use them. Try to do this activity on your own. Select the words from the boxes and put them in the gaps. Activity number 2 asks you, read the completed paragraph and answer the questions below with a partner. Again, this is an online course, so you might be doing it on your own. So try to do it on your own. What's the writer's position? Is he agreeing or disagreeing? How do you know it? And how have they organized their argument? What is their methodology? And what support they have provided? What are the supporting sentences? And what do you think the rest of the essay looks like? Okay, so pause the video here, do this exercise on your own, and when you come back, we are going to review the answers. All right, let's review the answers. So exercise 1, there, I'm going to read the whole paragraph so that it makes sense, fill in the gaps along the way. There are a number of arguments in favor of using nuclear energy as an alternative to fossil fuels. First of all, it is an economical source of energy. The power generated by nuclear power stations cost much less to produce than from coal or oil-fired stations. Secondly, unlike traditional power stations, nuclear power plants do not pollute the atmosphere with their waste. Instead, the waste is stored in safe containers deep underground. As a result, a move to nuclear power will reduce greenhouse gases that are responsible for global warming in the atmosphere. Furthermore, power stations have been shown to be safer places for people to work than coal-fired power stations. Finally, nuclear power can potentially supply all our energy needs for many centuries to come. This is wrapping it up with the final statement. All right, we talked about the exercise 2. Let's look at the answers. So what is the writer's position? The writer agrees with the statement based on this one paragraph. We can see that he's agreeing, not disagreeing. How do you know it? Because the paragraph contains only positive arguments in favor of the nuclear energy, right? How have they organized their argument? The writer lists positive arguments and provides examples of these. They provide examples based on their own knowledge of the topic, no expertise. They're not citing studies or researches, and that's something that you shouldn't do because you're going to lose marks if you did that. All right. What support have they provided? These are the support that are provided from their own knowledge and from their own opinion. What do you think the rest of the essay looks like? They will likely have another paragraph outlining the negative before a conclusion, which clarifies their position, right? So they can give in one paragraph the positives and why they agree, In the second paragraph, they can talk about others' opinions and why other people think like that and what the alternatives are. And then in conclusion, they will clarify their position, right? That's how you should write your essay, right? So they will likely have another paragraph outlining some negatives before a conclusion, which clarifies their position, though do not accept any logical responses to this. They're not going to accept it. They're going to only stick with accepting or agreeing with a nuclear power being the best alternative. Okay, sounds good. Let's keep moving. All right, in this activity, I want you to pause the video again and try to do this activity on your own. In this activity, what we're doing, again, we're looking at connecting the ideas in the example paragraph below with the words in the box. You have, again, the box presented to you, and you are going to use these connecting words, and you will do this exercise, fill in the gap. Then in exercise number 4, you have to read the completed paragraph and answer the questions below with your partner. Again, this is an online course. You will do it yourself. So what's the writer's position in this paragraph? What do you think? How do you know? How have they organized their argument? What support have they provided? And what do you think the rest of the essay looks like? Okay, pause the video here, do this exercise on your own, and when you come back, we'll review the answers. All right, let's look at the answers now. So in exercise 3, let's discuss that. I'm going to read the whole paragraph so that it makes sense, and I will fill in the gaps along the way. The claims made by those in favor of nuclear power do not stand up to close examination. It is often said, for instance, that nuclear power does not harm the environment, while or although it is true that greenhouse gases are not produced by the use of nuclear energy, mining for uranium causes real environmental damage. Moreover, many reactors use rivers for cooling. This raises temperature in the river water, causing harm to life in and around those rivers. It is also argued that the technology of modern reactors makes accidents almost impossible. Despite these claims, accidents have happened, most famously at Chernobyl. No amount of technology can prevent human error, carelessness, or laziness. While or although these types of accidents are incredibly rare, their consequences have devastating lifelong effects, right? So that's your exercise 3 done. Let's just talk about exercise 4. Now, what is the writer's position? The writer disagrees with the statement is opposed to the use of nuclear energy. So he's providing the next the next paragraph opposing the idea, right? Because he's representing the other people's opinion on this as well, right? How do you know? The entire paragraph argues against the positive arguments for its use. And then how have they organized their argument? The writer presents a positive argument for nuclear energy and then refutes it. So it's saying although and things like that, although. So while or although, these are basically refuting connecting words. Let's talk about what support have they provided. They have, they may have a second main body paragraph which outlines why other alternatives. So this one is what do you think the rest of the essay looks like? They may have last one, what do you think the rest of the essay looks like? They may have the second body paragraph which outlines why other alternative sources of energy are better than nuclear energy, though do not accept any logical responses to it. Okay, so this will be your second paragraph where you refute what you have said in first paragraph, providing other people's opinions, and in conclusion, you will make it clear that you still agree that the nuclear energy is what you're going for, right? You have to make your position clear in your conclusion and in your introduction as well. All right, keep moving. So this is a homework for you. Please do this homework on your own. And if you want to write an essay and connect with me, and you want me to review your answers and provide feedback, you can send it through the Q&A section, and I will look at your answer response, and I will provide feedback on this. But do this exercise as a homework. I'll read it out to you what you're supposed to do here. You have to write an essay, work through the steps covered today to write your essays. Use the same kind of structure that I've given you. Analyze the question, very important that you analyze the question, understand every bit that you need to write. Brainstorm possible ideas, right? What you're supposed to write. Then plan which ideas to write about and the structure of your paragraph, introduction, and then body 1, body 2, conclusion, right? The teaching of that's the topic. The teaching of information technology is a standard part of the school curriculum. In most secondary schools, the same is now happening in primary schools where children as young as 6 are learning how to use computers. However, there is a danger that IT skills are being taught at the expense of more basic skills. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words, okay? So do this as your homework, and if you want me to review your response, please put it in the Q&A section, and I will get back to you with the feedback. All right, before we go, I just wanted to quickly show you the band scoring. I have put the link in my earlier lessons, I put the link for the band descriptors, but I want to quickly review the task response and the coherence and cohesion for this part 2 of your IELTS writing test. Let's review band 3 first. We're going to talk about the task response in band 3. Band 5, sorry. So band 5, let's just talk about the task response. How do you get band 5 and what are the things that the examiner is looking for? The main parts of the prompt are incompletely addressed. So if you're incompletely addressing the question, then you're going to lose marks, right? You will achieve only band 5. The format may be inappropriate in places. The writer expresses a position, but the development is not always clear. Some main ideas are put forward, but they are limited and are not sufficiently developed or there may be irrelevant detail. There may be some question. There may be some repetition, sorry. Band 6, you can achieve band 6 in task response if the main parts of the prompt are addressed, though some may be more fully covered than others. An appropriate format is used. A position is presented that is directly relevant to the prompt, although the conclusion drawn may be unclear, unjustified, or repetitive. Main ideas are relevant, but some may be insufficiently developed or may lack clarity, while some supporting arguments and evidence may be less relevant or inadequate. In terms of band 7 for task response, the main parts of the prompt are appropriately addressed. Clear and developed position is presented. Main ideas are extended and supported, but there may be a tendency to overgeneralize, or there may be lack of focus and precision in supporting ideas and material. If you talk about coherence and cohesion, this is we've focused on coherence and cohesion by linking words and things like that. Your ideas should link with each other and also flow in logical way. Let's talk about band 5 first. Firstly, organization is evident. You have the organization of your ideas, but is not fully logical, and there may be lack of overall progression. Nevertheless, there is a sense of underlying coherence to the response. The relationship of ideas can be followed, but the sentences are not fluently linked to each other. That's why connecting words is so important. There may be limited overuse of cohesive devices with some inaccuracy. So you're not using the cohesive devices properly. The writing may be repetitive due to inadequate or inaccurate use of reference and substitution. Paragraphing may be inadequate or missing. Okay. If you want to achieve band 6, let's talk about that. Information and ideas are generally arranged coherently, and there is a clear overall progression. Cohesive devices are used to some good effect, but cohesion within and or between sentences may be faulty or mechanical due to misuse, overuse, or omission. The use of a reference and the substitution may lack flexibility or clarity and result in some repetition or error. And paragraphing may not always be logical, or the central topic may not always be clear. If you want to achieve band 7 for coherence and cohesion, information and ideas are logically organized, and there is a clear progression throughout the response. A few lapses may occur, but those are minor. A range of cohesive devices, including reference and substitution, is used flexibly, but with some inaccuracies or some over-underuse. Paraphrasing is generally used effectively to support overall coherence, and the sequencing of ideas within a paragraph is generally logical. This lecture concludes here, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.